right, I'm recording. Careful what you say. Welcome to Season 1, Episode 3 of Strongly Worded. I am Sue O'Lear.
And I'm Johnny Hampton.
And we are once again coming at you from our dining room studio here in Palm Coast, Florida. Welcome back, Johnny. We've had an interesting couple days, haven't we?
Yes. We've got our first 2 episodes out there.
We're on Spotify now.
Yes, we're big time.
So when you start a podcast and you want to send it out to all those places where you listen to podcasts, it takes a couple days sometimes when you're new to get approval. But Spotify approved us real quick, so.
Yeah, they must need the content.
But we are also hosted on Podbean, so you can search Strongly Worded on Podbean, or we have a podcast player on our website at stronglyworded.com, or you can find us on Spotify.
Yes, and follow and download.
And share.
Yes, share.
Tell your friends. We also had been waiting and received this week our theme music, and we've been listening to it pretty much nonstop. Both our theme music and our artwork are from a couple people just starting out in their biz. I think they're both really, really good.
Yes.
Neither one of them charged us enough money for either one of those for as good as they are. But we hope you enjoy all that. We're certainly having a good time putting this together for you. So today, we're here to talk a little bit about social media and parenting and social media. Johnny and I are both parents. We're both dabbling in social media. I thought maybe, since we always kind of start out with some exposition, talk to me a little bit about how you use social media and your introduction to social media.
I use social media for information mostly, and to keep up with family. My favorite social media sites are Twitter, because I get information from there. First thing I do in the morning, actually, is when I wake up, I check Twitter for news. Twitter is where I heard a lot of stuff about school shootings, because people just tweet about it as soon as it happens. And Facebook, I use to keep up with my family members. I have Instagram. I recently started using it more when I got bored, but I don't like taking pictures of myself that much, and I don't snap a lot at all, because I'm from a era where you didn't do those kinds of things.
What was your first social media?
First
Way
one,
back in the day, did you do MySpace?
Yes, I did have MySpace. I didn't even use that much.
No. Did you ever do like chat rooms and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, the greatest story ever. So I didn't do chat rooms like AOL chat rooms or anything like that. I remember, I'm old enough to remember when the internet first started becoming this big thing. And I remember my friend Fred and I, he went to high school and college with me. We would go to the computer lab at Baruch College, and they had a chat room. It was called Hawaii Chat Universe. And you could go and chat with people from Hawaii, and we thought it was the best thing ever. Because we didn't have internet previous to that. So we would talk to, and then eventually people from all over the country would go to this chat room, and you'd be talking to people from Michigan. You got to remember, we used to have to write letters and put them in the mail.
Right.
Right? So when that thing happened, it was groundbreaking. But just like everything else, to me, that's made with pure innocence, it can be corrupted.
Yeah, so chat rooms, AOL chat rooms were my first sort of foray into playing around on the internet. And I have a story too. I was in one of those chat rooms, and I can't even remember what it was about, the theme of the chat room, but I met somebody in there and we ended up chatting for months. His handle was Eskimo Man. He was from Alaska.
Wow.
And it was purely innocent. I mean, it really truly was just innocent conversation. It wasn't at all inappropriate. And this is when I was living in Ann Arbor, and he had a business trip that he routed through Detroit Metro Airport. He routed a 2-hour layover or whatever if I wanted to come and meet him. Because at that time, it was pre-9/11. You could still go anywhere in the airport.
Yes.
And so to meet him. And so I did. Well, I
Wow.
took a friend with me.
Oh.
I didn't go. I mean, we were in an airport anyway. I didn't really figure I was going to get snatched. But Yep, and he brought me a book about Alaska.
How about that?
Yeah, I don't know whatever happened to him, but I don't remember. But anyway, that was.
See, that's a good social media story.
I mean, that's kind of when it started.
Yeah, that's a good internet. I never met anyone from the internet. I think by the time all that was going on, I had already had my first child. I was in a serious relationship, so I never did. I know my best friend. He used to chat online and meet people from time to time. But even for him, it was like eventually he was like, "This is for the birds."
Yeah.
Because it just came too late for us, I think. Like, so we were a little bit like too mature to do online dating nonstop.
Well, I think we had too much life without it, to compare it to.
I agree.
I think.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we used to get out and do things and talk on the phone.
We had to meet people getting drunk in bars.
Yeah, exactly. Or at a party, or
right.
you had to
right.
go places and see people and actually interact, not just click a like. It's a little different now.
It is. So, I remember I did MySpace and I did Facebook. I started Facebooking about the time we moved from Michigan to North Carolina because I could stay in touch with family and upload pictures of the kids. But then in about 2009, I started blogging. It was a period of time before Twitter really took hold. I mean, Twitter was starting out, but before it really took hold and became what it is now, what did they call that? Microblogging. But blogging itself was that kind of community. You could get really connected to people who wrote about kind of the same things you did. You'd follow each other's blogs. You'd put each other on your blog roll, so you could check them all the time. And it turned into kind of a thing for me. My blog ended up getting a lot of followers and some attention, and it evolved to a website and kind of a brand, and I went to conferences.
Did you?
I did, and I was also working in fitness at the time, and it was a health and fitness blog, and some of my posts, like I woke up one day to a friend, I'm air quoting friend, because it wasn't somebody that I met in person, it was somebody I'd only kind of become friends with on the internet, but she lived in Australia. And one of my posts in my blog got picked up in Women's Health Australia as one of the best blogs to follow that year. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, it is. And so at the time when I first started blogging, I created a second Facebook account because I started getting likes from people I didn't know, people that just followed the blog. But now that other Facebook account is full of people that I've been friends with as long as I've been friends with anybody, 10 years. Some of them I met at these conferences, but it all started out because we read each other's blogs.
So that's a lot of positive interaction.
I did. I had a very positive experience with it first, but a couple things happened with the writing. One thing that happened is the town that we lived in North Carolina, people started to find out about it. So I couldn't really be anonymous anymore. So people started to see themselves in some of the things that I wrote about. Now, it was funny. It was funny. And the joke was usually on me. Because I think that's what's funny. I don't think it's funny to poke fun of somebody else.
Right.
But people could start recognizing themselves in some of the stories and situations. And it got more difficult to write about a Zumba class I went to, when people who were also in the same Zumba class could look for themselves in the story. And I could bump into them at the Food Lion. It's just, it was...
The Piggly Wiggly. No.
Yeah. And then there was also a period of time, and I think we'll touch on this later on in our conversation, where those 10,000 hits I was getting every so often starts to make you feel like you're something. And I wasn't really anything. But I was...
I mean, I guess that's natural, right? To get acceptance from people all over the world, all over the country. And that's a boost to your ego. It can be an unnatural boost, in my opinion. And those are the things I worry about when it comes to social media and kids, actually. It's one of my main things. Some of it it's not real life.
It's not real life. I say that to my kids all the time. It's not.
You know, it's not real life.
Yeah. Yeah, so I eventually shut the website down. So don't Google it if you know what it is, because it's no longer what it was. It was Mrs. Fatass was the handle that I wrote under. So if you Google it now, you'll see naked people. You didn't see naked people on the site when it was mine.
What kind of blog was this again?
I know, don't look at it. If you ever get real interested and want to dig, the first year's worth of posts are published in a book now. A friend of mine, as a gift, slurped it and self-published it, and it's, a beautiful bound copy. I don't know how it holds up, though. I haven't read some of those posts in years.
I did not know that I was podcasting with a superstar. With a blog superstar over here.
Well, now you know. Now you know. So that was my introduction to social media. And I'm on Twitter. And
Yeah.
I glean it for information.
Yeah, the only thing I don't have TikTok. Like, we have a TikTok for showing word.
I don't know what to do with it.
But I'm not going to be up there dancing. Like, I'm just not going to be doing that. Now, both of your kids grew up in the heart. They're growing up in the heart of the social media era. I have, I guess, a benefit. Although my oldest child says, "Oh, social media was big." No, Instagram started. Tiara was already in high school. She didn't grow up with it. And my son Anthony, it's always been around. So I have two different experiences, kind of. And I worry more with Anthony about the social media. That's why he doesn't have many. He only has Snapchat. And that's only because one of his very best friends was like, "Oh, you gotta get this." I was like, "Fine, cool, you can have it." But he doesn't have Instagram, doesn't have a Twitter, doesn't have Facebook, doesn't have TikTok. And sometimes I worry that I'm being too restrictive. And other times, I think I'm doing the right thing. There's really no handbook.
There isn't.
And I don't know if he's mature enough to handle all the things that come with social. There's a lot of pressure, in my opinion. So, like, as a youth basketball coach, I get kids all the time. They want to follow me, but I don't follow them back, especially if they're a young lady. Only if I really know their parents and stuff like that. But you see them, and you see things. If you go to your search button or something like that, they're going to come up because they follow you.
Right.
And some of the things that they post, they irk me a little bit, just for lack of a better word. Like, you'll see young ladies all made up, looking for likes. Hey, I just posted this. Go mess with it, like it. Or you see young boys with their shirts off and their mama's $1 bills, acting like they're rich, and posting that. And I just think that kind of culture is kind of bad for our kids, to always be out there looking for likes.
So with my kids, well, first off, on a lot of the platforms, kids aren't supposed to be able to create an account until they're 13. We all know how that they get around that. But with Joseph, the one he really wanted was Facebook. And I said, no, not until you're 13. By the time he was 13, he didn't want one anymore.
Yeah, it's for old people then.
And it was for old people then. But he started getting connected to people gaming, because I would let him connect with his cousins down here. Or, during the summer with some of his school friends or whatever. And during school, I would let him use my laptop from time to time. I would monitor it, of course. And then, of course, the one time I trusted him to go on to Google. Do you want to know what he Googled? I'll ask his permission, and I can edit this out if he tells me not to tell this story.
Okay.
All right? But they were starting to do research, I think, in school on stuff.
Oh, my goodness.
So he Googled Earth's biggest boobs.
Oh, my goodness.
And biggest was spelled Biggist.
So,
I have no idea what that pulled up, but that was the beginning and the end of me giving him my laptop to research things.
Yeah, see, I have an app that that actually monitors what Anthony Googles and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, most of what I've done with my kids and social media is try to lock down after something like Earth's Biggest Boobs. I've learned pretty much by making mistakes.
See, that's the thing, and I have as well. So when Tiara was in 9th grade, I want to say, she had a Kindle. And, the Kindle was supposed to be, for books, but you also could attach to the internet. And we found out that she was sneaking around on her Kindle making video calls. Okay? And so one night I went in there and she was on her Kindle. And she was on some social media page. It was called Ask FM. And I guess you post something up there and random people can ask you questions. I had never seen it before, didn't know anything about it. I think this was even before smartphones were really big. And on that page, she talked about her sexuality. And for people who don't know, my daughter is, I don't know, I would let her describe it. But as far as I know, she is a gay woman. Well, not a woman. She's fluid in her gender. That's the right way to say it.
Johnny, good job.
So I'm learning.
You're getting comfortable with
the
language.
Yes, so she would love to hear me say that. But, Tiara dates same sex. Okay? I didn't know this until I saw it on her Ask FM page. On social media. So social media and the world knew this before her day. And it's okay if I tell that story. Tiara won't mind that. That's not that big of a deal. But it shocked me that Tiara was more comfortable doing that on social media than talking to her parents. So that is, I made mistakes too. Like we weren't monitoring Tiara as we should, or not as much as we should have. Because Tiara was getting away with it. She was making calls to her friends middle of the night, and we didn't even know. And if I didn't luck up then, who knows when I would have even found out about her sexuality? It could have been years longer. So I alongside think social media makes you less social.
Yes. Isn't that funny how that happens?
Yes. I think, I talk to my son all the time. I'm like, when I was a kid, you had to actually talk to girls that you liked. You couldn't just go to their Instagram page and like a picture.
You had to write a note.
Right.
And you had to have 2 check boxes.
Yeah. And back then, you had to actually articulate your feelings. You couldn't just write on Instagram, to be honest.
Right.
Tell me what you think of me.
Right.
It wasn't that easy. And so I think social media has made people less social. And at the same time, more dependent on what others think of you. So I've always been a person, I don't really care what you... I care to a certain extent. Like, I want you to think I'm a good man. But I don't care if you think I'm handsome. I don't care if you think I'm well dressed. None of that. As long as my wife thinks I'm cool, I'm all right. But nowadays, especially with young ladies, that I just feel like they are constantly looking for affirmation on social media, and I don't think that affirmation is real.
No, I agree. I did a little research, of course, today, because that's what I do, to steer the ship. The Pew Research Center says that 2/3 of parents say parenting is harder now than 20 years ago, with social media and smartphones listed as the main reason why. And it talks a little bit about one of the things, it talks a little bit about how much screen time is too much or not enough. I know with Anthony, you set that up.
Yes, we have him go off at 9 o'clock every night, and we plug his phone up in our room so he's not texting or Snapchatting all night.
Where's the Kindle?
He doesn't. The Kindle's long gone. But he actually has an iPad, school issued, but he can't do much with that. But yeah, we plug up his stuff, and like I said, it's I find myself, you got to strike a balance, right? Like I want him not to be up all night, but at the same time, I don't want him to be an outcast either. But I'm less worried about that. I think if he hangs out with the right people, they'll understand.
So one of the things about smartphones and social media right now that is so different than when we were growing up is it shut off at a certain period of time our socialization and our connection to everybody else. And this is nonstop. Another article that I read on, I don't remember what, how social media changed the way we parent. I'll put these things in the show notes, but it talked about cyberbullying, one of the articles, and how bullying used to end when you got off the bus and got home so the kids could have a break. Regardless of whatever the situation, they could have a break from it. And now it's constant. It's this 24-hour cycle of...
It's a huge thing. I remember, I was talking about in our introductory episode, like I don't understand how people tape assaults.
Mm-hmm.
They have actual social media pages for this. So a fight that you have with a kid can live forever. Now, if you get into a fight, you get beat up. Used to be no big deal. Now everyone's posting it, reposting it, putting music to it, doing all these kind of things. So yes, the bullying is nonstop. And that combined with how they treat fighting in schools now. When I was a kid, someone said something about you and you heard about it, you could go see them. And then you could have a conversation about it. That conversation could become a fight. You guys fought. Maybe you got suspended a day or two. You came back, and a lot of times after you fought that kid, guess what? You became friends with him.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you're on social media, saying all this stuff, because nowadays if you fight at a school, the police come.
Right.
And you can get charged with assault.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't even settle things the old way. So these people are on social media talking all this trash about people because there's no repercussions to it. The laws haven't really caught up with cyberbullying as they, in my opinion, as they should. It's a big thing. Mm-hmm. If someone is bullying my kid nonstop on social media, there should be some repercussions for that. You shouldn't be able to. I saw a post one day, a kid, and he was posting girls on his Instagram, asking other people to rate these girls. Now, if you would have put Tiara on that Instagram and someone would have called Tiara ugly, I would have been trying to find you. But, these kids took it in stride. But one I noticed made her page private afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's not normal to do.
I see some of those things, though, as an extension of things we did growing up. We had slam books. Did you have slam books?
I know what a slam book is.
So it was in writing right there and passed around to everybody.
Yeah, I guess. But even
Not
then,
that that's a justification, America, because I think slam books are also horrible.
But a slam book can't be seen by hundreds and hundreds of people.
Yeah, only who you pass it to.
Right. So if you have an Instagram page that happens to be public, mm-hmm. and you're posting this stuff, and someone else searches, they see some young lady you don't even know, you could be in a different state, and they're calling this young lady ugly online. Mm-hmm. And those are the things that make parenting hard. Because what do you tell someone? Half the time they don't even tell you what's going on anyway. Mm-hmm. So they're not going to tell you, hey, this guy posted me on Instagram, called me ugly. So you're not going to even know about it.
Right.
They're going to be trying to deal with that. And I think social media and the internet has led to more anxiety and depression in our young people. Mm-hmm. I think we can make some correlations in. I'm no doctor. I'm an accountant. So I'm not a scientist or anything like that. But I can't imagine growing up nowadays, if you don't have really thick skin or have a really good sense of self and self-worth, you can be eaten alive by some of this. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing that a parent can do. I mean, you can try your best to instill in your kid that they're beautiful or handsome and smart. But
or screw what other people think.
Right, but we all know that kids tend to gravitate towards their friends. Mm-hmm. And if their friends are all doing this social media thing, they're gonna want to do it too. And I just feel like cruising for likes is a bad way to set up your life.
One of the first things I always say to Carolyn when she comes home antsy or upset or anxious and can't really articulate why, one of the first things I do is say, put your phone down. Just disconnect from it. Just give me an hour. We'll go take a walk, or we'll go right down to the beach, or we'll do something, but let's leave our phone on the kitchen table, because I agree. I think that constant connection to this, what other people think, or, how many likes somebody has or whatever, it definitely, I think, increases anxiety. I think Carolyn is a pretty well-adjusted kid, whatever that means. Mm-hmm. She's pretty mature.
Yes, I would agree with that.
So she can sometimes, in her head, stand back and see what's happening, but she's still a 13-year-old kid, I was reading something that said social media in parents even, and I'm probably thinking of parents who have kids younger than us, right? Because how the timing works, but social media has created a pause in our brains. When we see something, we pause so that we can document it. We see something and we pause so we can snap it. And in this sort of constant sharing or oversharing or comparing or putting all this stuff up about our kids, we're in effect teaching them to look for that kind of, like we create fame-hungry kids.
No,
by setting that example.
I think that could be true. Mm-hmm. I definitely think that's true. A lot of parents nowadays, everything is documented. Mm-hmm. Every single thing. And I document things from time to time.
But it's not just in our photo album anymore to be pulled out, when you are meeting your kid's significant other and you want to embarrass them a little. It's not like that anymore.
No, it's not. I mean, it's all over. See, I make my pages private, though. Mm-hmm. Like, every page I have, like, you have to request to follow me on Instagram. You can't just add me on Snapchat. I think I made Twitter public because it was just a little bit easier. Because, I had, like, Chuck D from Public Enemy followed me once.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, he follows me now. We talked about the Knicks.
You are the one that's big time.
So, like, wow. I made my page public after that. I was like, Chuck D had that.
Oh, man, and he did it.
Yeah, that's crazy, yeah. I remember that. We were talking about the Knicks. But everything else is private because, and I tell, I remember I had to tell some kids, because a lot of kids, like I said, I coach youth basketball. A lot of kids find me on Instagram. They want to follow me. I tell them, no, I don't add everybody. Because my Instagram page is where I post myself and my family, and that's not accessible for everyone. Mm-hmm. And I remember Anthony got mad at me once because I posted a picture of him on there, and like one of his friends or something made fun of him. I said, which friend was it? He told me, and I blocked that friend. And I didn't even tell him that, but I blocked that friend can no longer see my Instagram page. Mm-hmm. Because if you're going to take a picture of my son when he was a baby and make fun of him, you don't need access to what I'm doing.
Right.
But today, I don't know if kids do that. And kids play mean games with social media too. Block people unnecessarily, or play with, young boys playing with young girls' emotions. And I see that stuff all the time, and I hear it, and I don't, you can't get involved in everyone's life. But those things are not real. You can't grow up to be in college and mess with girls' emotions like you did on social media. So I just feel like social media is teaching our kids some bad things.
Right. I mean, is it teaching them that they can? I mean, are we raising a generation of people that aren't going to be able to form healthy relationships as they get older?
I think we are. I mean, I can't think, and I'm racking my brain now, that's why I'm pausing. I'm thinking of all the young people that I know and thinking of people who are of age to have those type of relationships. If they've had healthy ones. And I can't think of one. I just can't. It's like they don't value interaction or even life to a certain extent because social media has devalued everything. And I don't know how it did that, but it seems like it has. And I have to tell people all the time, like, social media, it's just not real. 75 people liking your picture because you made up all your face and you put a filter on. Like, you didn't even show them the real you. Or you shot a video and you edited it 1,000,000 times. Or you put this basketball layup on and everyone thinks you're a great player, but you were losing the game by 60 when you took that. That's not real. So everyone's saying, oh, they love you, they think you're a great basketball player, and then they come to the games like, what's going on? Like, you have all these clips where you're so great, and in the games you're doing nothing. Or you see someone out in the town after you took a picture all dolled up, and you're like, you don't even look like this in real life. And I just feel, I don't know how we're going to stop that, but we need to. We need to teach our kids what's real and what's not. And I try to do that with my son. I try to do that with Tiara. I think it's working. And the reason I think it's working is because my son has not asked me for Instagram yet. And I've made it clear that I don't really want him to have it, but there's a lot of things I don't want him to have that he asked for. But he hasn't asked for that. And I think it's partly because I don't know if he's ready to subject himself to, likes and dislikes. He'd rather do it. What these young kids like is the Snapchat. Because anything you do, it disappears. And, my son tries to get around, like he likes to snap and he'll put a message in the snap. Then I can't see what he said because he doesn't like me monitoring him. He thinks a father shouldn't monitor the son. Like, no, I'm going to monitor everything you do.
Before we totally pivot from this aspect of the conversation, I want to talk about the digital footprint. That parents start creating for the kids, and then the kids start creating for themselves without even realizing it. We see these stories in the news where a school Googles a kid that they're about to give a scholarship to.
That's right.
And a tweet comes up.
That's right. People, I see a lot with the athletes. They'll be tweeting when they were 13 or 14 and think it's funny to tweet out the N-word or make a racial joke. And it's out there, and then they'll get drafted by a team, and it's all in the news. Well, if you can't say it in real life, don't put it online. And that is true. Like, the first thing I do every season when I coach, I get my roster, I Facebook the parents to see what I'm dealing with. That's the truth, Ruth. Like, I do it every season. Sometimes I can't find them. That's cool. Other times I can. And it's not to see, like, if the kid is any good, because I don't care about that. Like, we're have to have fun. I'm going to try to teach you how to play basketball. So you could have never played ball before. That's fine with me. But when I look at your parents, I want to see, what they've put out in the universe. What kind of personality I'm going to be dealing with. Because that's what people do. They put their stuff out there in public.
So when you mean you Facebook them, you Facebook stalk them, or you friend them?
No, I search them. I stalk them.
You stalk
I search them.
So if they're all locked down in private, you're like,
oh,
they know.
Right. I don't see anything. No, yeah. But I don't request basketball parents. I wait for them to request me because of my Facebook page.
Right.
Because my thing is private. I talk about a lot of stuff that might not agree with you. But yeah, I do that with the kid. And then if a kid wants to play for me, I search him on Instagram. Him or her. Again, to see what and I will use that when I'm coaching. I will tell a young lady, hey, if you got time to post TikTok videos at 2 a.m., you got time to work on your jump shot. I will tell them that. I have no problem doing it, but that's what you're putting in the universe.
Right.
And if you don't want me to see it, make it private. See, and that's another thing. Like, in the thirst for follows, you have your page public because you want everyone to follow you.
Mm-hmm.
No,
even the bots.
Right. You don't want that. You want to be private. So when you get to high school, like you said, if you're going for a scholarship and they Google you because they do, you think the Kiwanis Club is giving a 4-year scholarship away and not doing their research on who they're giving it to?
Right.
No.
Or when you try to go get a job. You think if I don't Google someone before I get real interested in them?
Yeah, of course. You're going to check out their LinkedIn page. You're going to check out and see, what's going on. And if you've left that footprint and it's a bunch of bad things, they might go with someone else instead of you. But the kids don't realize that. All they realize is they got 400 likes from this video where the dude had no shirt off and he was dancing with some girl. Well, the girl was in a bikini and she got 700 likes and some rap song with 1 billion profane words.
Right.
And then they're going for a scholarship. And what happens? Oh, well, they're not gonna tell you that they saw this. They're gonna just look at it and say, "Oh, we're gonna go to the next candidate." You'll never know what you did to turn them off.
Right. It's interesting.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't have to deal with that. But I think when I was a kid, I wouldn't have. I don't even like my picture taken now. Most of the pictures I have, you always see my wife in them because she's making me take these pictures. So I think for me, I've gotten to the point where I'm an old man now because I don't understand social media, how the kids use it at all. I just don't understand it. I don't understand taking a picture and asking if I look cute. I don't understand it because I don't care what you think. If I think I look cute, that's good enough.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how, as our kids grow up, how the generation in their adulthood handles it or how it continues or evolves. Because certainly I hope that we're not raising a generation of people who can't connect.
There was a Netflix documentary, I can't think of the name of it right now, that talked about all this and talked about, how you shouldn't have your kids so locked in to social media until they become older. And I just don't know. I can't remember what the name of it is. I'm gonna find out and have Sue put it in the show notes, and I'll mention it in the follow-up blog. But I watched it and it scared the hell out of me.
Yeah.
But it was only for kids. It was for adults too. How they get your information, how they store your information, how they target you, so you can become addicted to social media. Oh,
I watched that too.
Yeah.
The Social Dilemma?
Yes, that's what it is.
Okay.
The Social Dilemma on Netflix. Netflix, they have to cut us a check if a lot of people go watch it. But, yeah, and it was a scary thing. And the thing is, even me, I can't live without my phone, so I can't knock the kids that much. I'm not some holier than that. I don't leave my phone on the dresser and go out. I take it everywhere with me. It's literally 2 inches from me now as we speak. So I get it. I just feel like the adulation that they're searching for is better served from other things than social media. The Strongly Worded Podcast is brought to you by the good folks at the Flagler County Basketball Program. For high-quality, community-based youth basketball, you don't have to look any further than the Flagler County Hurricanes. Open to young people 8 through 18. Season starts November 7th. Sign up now at flaglerhurricanes.com.
Okay, so based on that, I do want to take a pivot and talk about this, talk about influencers.
Okay.
I think that, so in doing some of my research, something I did not realize, because I was an old, a long time ago influencer with my blog. It wasn't called that then, and certainly it wasn't the...
I'm potting with an influence.
No, but it was different. I mean, companies would look at bloggers, mommy bloggers or fitness bloggers, depending, and if you had a particular reach and you could blog about their product.
Oh, yeah.
And help them increase their sales. Now, at the time, at first, they didn't want to pay you money. They would say they would pay you in product, which doesn't pay the bills, right? So there was a lot at that time about the value of your following and negotiating with these companies to actually, and maybe that sort of helped in the evolution of where we are right now, where social media influencers are responsible for, I think in 2019, I read it was like a $8 billion industry.
I mean, it makes sense. Like if Kylie Jenner holds up some lip gloss, people going to get it. If Rihanna has this person wearing a lingerie line, people going to get it. If some guy who has 1 million Instagram followers puts on a certain pair of headphones, people are going to see it. Yeah, I mean, those guys, they're making money off that. I don't know how you quantify that. To me, it's a little bit of a follow the leader type thing, which again, that's advertising though. So I can't say too much about that. They're getting paid, and I think there was a time when they were doing that and just getting paid for it. But now when they do it on Instagram, I think they have to tell you,
right?
It's a paid advertising.
Yep.
And so you can discern for yourself. Because it used to be they would act as if, oh yeah, I'm Kylie Jenner and I'm using, these headphones. They're great. And meanwhile, as soon as she snaps that picture, those headphones are in the garbage. She's using something else.
Right.
Now it has to tell you it's a paid advertisement.
In some of those posts, you can get $100,000 for one of them.
Well, that's what.
At least.
Follow strongly worded.
To our 40 followers right now.
Yeah, we need to get them. We need to get those up.
I know, but and then you have kids saying, "I want to be an influencer."
I don't. Again, this is gonna be like the I don't understand podcast because I don't understand being a social media influencer. And in our little small town, we have one.
We have one.
We have one.
We're hoping he'll come on the show.
Yeah, we have one, and we have a family. Who,
yeah, we have a family.
And I bet if we asked her, she'd come on.
For sure, I would love to.
And we have a family here. I'm not gonna plug their YouTube page. They have enough followers. But honestly, I've met them.
I don't know the name of it.
I do.
Okay.
Oh, I do. It's funny. Their kids played in our basketball league in the summer. As soon as... So it's a family, married husband and wife. They have several kids. They have a YouTube channel. It's almost like their own reality show. They document stuff. It's pretty cool. Not for me. Not something I would do. Not something I really understand because I like my little bit of the anonymity. Can't even say the word. When Sue sent me the thing for the bio for our podcast page, I was like, oh, I got to tell people where I live? like what's happening here? So I like to be anonymous. But they document everything, and they have a lot of followers. And I remember when she walked into the gym for the first time for her son's first game, my son lost his mind. Could not believe she was there. I'm like, who is she? And he told me 2 or 3 times. I'm like, who again? I don't even. So, and they, you can monetize those things, and if that's for you, I get it. But I don't like putting myself out there. Maybe that's just a me thing, and maybe I'm just an old crabby guy who shouldn't be in this.
Who's gonna sit behind the microphone instead?
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. I mean.
Well, my daughter, Carolyn, and I have had some of these conversations because she has said it from time to time, and I say, well, what do you want to influence people about? I mean, she's a great communicator. She's a mature kid. She's got a really sharp mind. Why don't we use those powers for good? and not about how to sell widgets or whatever. Let's not plug lip gloss with it. How can we turn that into something positive for the world?
She could easily do a teenager podcast and talking about important things, and it would be fantastic. She is very mature. But that's the thing. So you can't really make any money doing that, though, right?
It's not salacious enough.
Today I'm going to tell you about how to get good grades. No one is checking for that, and that's what I mean. So you got to go to the lowest common denominator sometimes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. Mm-hmm. That's interesting. I think my son probably would put all his basketball stuff on the YouTube page if he could, and because he sees that all the time. But yeah, I mean, what will you influence? Mm-hmm. Do you just want people to wear a certain type of jeans? You want to go out there and make jokes and do pranks?
Right.
Do you want to do that? I don't see how that impacts the world.
No.
Like at the very least, with the family we're talking about, you see family stuff, family dynamics, and love, and so that comes across when I watch their videos.
Right.
So that's what they're doing. They're showing you, hey, this is how our family works, the love that we have. They show them going to football games. That's great. It's not, here, wear this lip gloss. Or I'm out here today in Walmart joking around, getting laughs. And you see that on TikTok. You see it everywhere. Like I saw something the other day where a guy was throwing stuff up in the air and was hitting people in the supermarket. And he would turn around and he would wonder where it came from too. And like that was his thing. So that's cool, but don't throw anything on me in the supermarket. That's all I'm saying. Right. That's all I'm saying. So I think we have too many kids who use their powers
for the mundane, for
right.
the mediocre.
Exactly. And that bothers me too. The whole thing. Get off my lawn. No. That's how I feel right now. Like
our new tagline.
All that stuff bugs me. And it worries me for the future because that's not how you can operate in life. That's just the thing. Like you can't operate in life looking for adulation from people you don't even know or care about. They don't care about you. All they care about is what you're showing them at this moment in time, which is probably the best version of you that you made up, and it's not even a real you.
Right. So, now let's try to flip it for just a second and see if we can come up with some situations where social media in the hand of our youth is a good thing. And I have an idea for what I'm going to throw out first that you and I kind of talked about this morning. With everything, I mean, yes, you can snap your own beautiful photos now just with your phone. You can filter them and make them look beautiful or whatever, and maybe not real, but you can also make music. You can self-promote. I self-published a book, something that you couldn't really do so easily 20 years ago. I have who I call my bonus kid living with me, and he's a musician.
Yes. And
we'll take a second to play a little bit of one of his songs.
Yes, today was his birthday.
Today's his birthday, yep.
And he's turned 18, and he recently joined one of the teams that I coach. And I don't know him that well yet. I will get to know him because I get to know every kid I coach.
Scars on my body got me thinking about my past. I wanna give my mama all the shit she never had. We argue, I don't listen, leave the house and leave it sad. Shit, I had to learn myself cause I ain't never had a dad. No, can you step into my shoes? I can't trust her, so I might come out very rude. My niggas went on chases, free my niggas on the news. All my niggas coming with me cause switching is never cool. How you saying that you want me when you left when I was a little?
But an 18th birthday is a big deal. And so when I saw it was his birthday, now mind you, I found out not only from you, but I found out in an Instagram post from another player who had it in her story that it was her birthday. So I clicked on the link and I went to send him a message, just tell him happy birthday, some positive vibes for him. and I noticed he had a link to music. Now, I'm the type of person that I always check out and support independent music, or anything really independent. If you're writing a book, if you post it, I'm gonna check it out, and I'm gonna give you honest feedback. Like, if I think this is not it for you, I'm like, listen, maybe you should stick. So I checked out he has an EP that's on iTunes. I had no clue he did any music. No one's ever told me this, and I've seen him. He came out every FBC game last year that I coached. I didn't know he made any music, and I played it, and I was like, wow, this is pretty good. I played it for my son, and he was like, who is that? And I was like, oh, and I told him who it was, and he said, oh, wow. But my son can't get it because I took explicit lyrics off his. So, I mean, we have to have a conversation about that. But, yeah, I mean, if you use social media in the right way, it can be very good. You can promote yourself. You can build communities. That's that is the good side. So I don't hate it all, I guess. So yeah, I found his music, and I'll probably be listening to it now. I'll probably stream it because it's actually pretty good.
We'll play a little bit for you, and I will put the link in the show notes to Self-Made Geo. But I agree. I think that in the right hands, with the right direction, and I don't know that he's had any direction or what kind of direction he had. Maybe it's an outlet because he doesn't have a lot of direction, but used in the right way, it can do what it was intended to do, which is to connect us.
Right, and that's what I think. But every invention, internet, social media was made, in a positive light. But we always find a way
to screw it up. Always find a way,
and there are people who are finding a way to screw this up. But as you said, there are positive things, So yeah, I agree with that. Now I know, my son has a Snapchat group with all the people who play basketball, and I love it because it's a community, it's a family. They pick each other up when they're down, and that I like.
Yep.
So I guess I don't hate it all. You've got me.
I know. Well, I'm definitely trying to wrap things up on a positive note, too, without us sounding like curmudgeons.
Oh, no, I sound like that. I'm sorry, y'all. But that's not, when it comes to social media, I have strong opinions. And, I just want it to be used the right way. And it's not always used the right way. And it's not only kids, though. We'll talk about adults and social media maybe one day, too. Because that's also a big thing. Because I got a lot of thoughts on that.
Yep, absolutely. That'll have to be to be continued. Put a pin in it. Well, one of the great ways we will use social media, are using social media. One thing, and maybe now that we have a few followers and a few episodes, it's time for a private Facebook group so we can talk about some of these things at more, with more depth, and certainly where people who do follow along and listen can share their thoughts with us, or even ideas about topics coming up. Another place where we are hopefully putting good out into the social media world is at our website, www.stronglywordedpod.com. We are on Instagram at stronglywordedpod. We're also Strongly Worded Pod on TikTok. Yes. We are the Strongly Worded Podcast on Facebook. That's just a public page, like the fan page, where we will let you know when we upload new episodes. On Twitter, however, we had too many letters. We are at Strongly Worded P.
I'm never giving that out. I'm not going to say that on the...
I mean, I could probably change that, but for now, that's where we are.
No, we got to keep it now.
Now we do. Check out our Last Word blog, where you can read our episode Afterthoughts at our website. If you are interested in advertising or being one of our show sponsors, we have really good rates. It's probably more affordable than you think. So shoot us an email at stronglywordedpod@gmail.com. All right, Johnny, any last final thoughts? Any final strong words?
Yes. Parents, monitor your kids' social media. make sure they're using it in a healthy way, not only for other kids, but for themselves. The last thing we want as a community is for kids to get so caught up in social media that it affects them emotionally. So that's all I got to say about that.
Strong words. I guess I'd probably echo them. Don't do the opposite of what I did, which was to pretty much let them have it until I felt like I needed to go sift through it.
There's no handbook.
There's no handbook. All right, thanks for listening, everybody. We will see you next week. Strongly worded with Johnny.
Tell you that I love you, then I'm solid, ain't no changing me. Never thought that you was stuff for me, that shit I can't believe. Gotta watch the closest to you is the envy for your achievement. They hate me cause I'm a young nigga on top. Guard now, my whole family dropouts. Can't slip up, well you better watch out cause they bought them Glocks out. I can't beef with you if it ain't about the money, that's what I'm about. You ain't loyal to the gang, you want that creep shit get you cropped out. Bitches and niggas be capping a lot, all they hoes be tryna plot. Tell all my niggas grab the gloss, we got the drops on all the odds. Paranoid and shit, you try some dumb shit, then you getting popped. No, I'm not a killer, but don't push, I'll leave a nigga shut a gun crown. Wishing we can laugh and talk one more time. When the sun gon' shine, what's broke ain't even have a dime. I'm coming up, it's my time. You can feel the pain that's in my rhymes. Lost my niggas to the gun crown.
The Strongly Worded podcast is written and produced by Johnny